Welcome back to complete our discussion talking about running and the benefits of exercising too, and also about health issues and whether or not you can do all that. Joining me again, Jack Wing, director of the Route 66 Marathon, one of the directors. Now let's jump in. You were talking about kind of how things have progressed for you with your health. And you did mention you've been running since the age of 4 and you've been an avid runner in that. And I would want to venture to say, I want to get that out now too, that probably because of your level of activity and staying sort of physically fit has helped you also in relation to these conditions and disorders that you've experienced to be able to come back faster or to heal better or quicker or things such as that.
Yeah, definitely, you know, because my body has been in good shape most of my life. You know, there's periods of time, of course, you get out of shape a little bit every now and then, but because of the running and the biking, I maintain a high level of training and this and that, and my body has been in pretty good shape all the years, and I haven't abused it. You watch what you eat, you know, you watch what you drink. I don't drink, you know, so, and I don't smoke, obviously, you know, but that has helped with my recovery plan. It helped me get prepared for the heart surgery that I had, and also when I got this cancer, this had helped me.
Okay, now let's continue with that because you mentioned, okay, you were diagnosed with the cancer, and were you put on chemotherapy medications and did radiation treatments and things such as that? But then you said, as we were going to break, that you ended up with some fractures?
Yeah, this type of cancer gets into your bones, and it cracked my pelvic bone on the left side. It was January 1st. I had the grandkids staying at the house. I just went downstairs to sit in the chair, and all of a sudden I had this excruciating pain in my back. It was the pelvic bone that cracked. Ended up going to the emergency room and got admitted to the hospital that day. And then I spent 2 weeks at St. John in the hospital, and they found the crack and they found a few tumors on the bones. So they gave me some radiation while I was in St. John during that 2-week period. And then after the 2 weeks were over with, you know, I couldn't go home because I have an old house where the master bedroom is upstairs, and I couldn't climb stairs. I had to lay in bed for almost 3 months. The only time I got out of bed was to use the restroom and stuff. You know, I could not get out of bed, and if I did, I was in a wheelchair. Which for a guy that runs and bikes, this was a shock to my system.
That's a big one.
You know, this was a shock to me to have to lay in bed and not do all these things that I normally would do. But thanks to everybody, you know, the prayers and the thoughts of everybody, it was just amazing recovery period. But I went from there to an extended care facility for a month. You know, and that's when we started the chemo. And I was very fortunate that a few years ago they came up with different chemo for this particular type of cancer and some new medication.
Now you had mentioned too, Jack, that you were surprised to develop cancer because you had been so fit. Was there, and people might be wondering right about now, well, was there any kind of family history of this type of cancer or cancers? Was it, because sometimes they can have a genetic kind of predisposition. Did that happen in your family, or were you kind of the first to ever have experienced
My dad had throat cancer years ago. You know, and he died at 61. But nobody else in the family did. And this particular type of cancer, they don't know how you get it. It's not something that you inherit. You know, like with breast cancer, sometimes that runs in the family. You know, this particular type of cancer, they have no idea how you contact it.
So this really hit you out of the blue.
Yeah, it was a shock. And of course, being an athlete, being somebody that's always been in shape, you're saying, no, it can't be me. That's not me. Then you go through the thing, why me? Like we all do. You know, why me? But then you have to turn it around, and you have to get really positive. Because if you don't think positive during all this, if you lay in that bed and just think pity, oh, pity me, you know, you're not going to survive this. You got to go out with a positive attitude.
Now, were there any type of activities, because like you said, as an athlete, you're missing the running and the biking and those kinds of things, and your body's kind of aching because you're no longer doing that either. Were there any kinds of things that you could do as far as minor repetition activity or you know, just doing your arm back and forth? Was there anything, or was there absolutely nothing?
For the first 2.5 months, there was nothing. They wouldn't let me do anything because of the broken pelvic. You know, it was basically lay in bed or get into a wheelchair. And once I got in the wheelchair, if I wanted to go into the restroom or even take a shower, there had to almost be a nurse with me when I went to the shower, for example. So it was all the stuff that I was not used to. And it was funny because when I was in the Methodist Manor, the extended care facility, they actually had to put a sign on my room, you know, limited to visitors, because at one day we had like 20 people in there at one time, people that come to see it, because Tulsa World did stories about my cancer, because they wanted to follow it and let people know that because of early detection,
Exactly.
That's how I discovered this.
Exactly.
So they called me up when they found out that I had cancer and said, look, you know, people know you in town, and we want to do a story whether the outcome is good or bad. Are you willing to do that? And I said, yes, because it's going to help somebody else down the road. So I was glad to put my life out there, my cancer out there in the news for everybody to know about.
Right,
you know,
and reinforcing those yearly physicals and yearly checkups are so critical.
Oh, they are. And then we started with a little therapy. I mean, my 3-pound weights, that's what I started lifting, was just 3 pounds. And to me, that seemed heavy at the time.
Yes.
You know, and my legs, which carried me through marathons, you know, which I had big legs, strong legs. All of a sudden, one day I was laying in bed and I was looking down, especially at my left leg, and it was half the size of my right leg.
Yeah.
And I went, oh my God, what a shock that was to me. You know, and now I'm still working on getting that leg built back up through physical therapy and exercise. But it doesn't take long for you to lose it, you know, and it's a lot of hard work coming back, and there's a lot of pain coming back, but you got to be able to put your body through that.
You know, and for you, Jack, you're in remission now.
Oh, which, thank God for that, yes.
And I know that you had mentioned to me before that now you're able to actually go up the stairs to actually get to your own bed.
Yeah.
And so sometimes we don't sort of value the small things that mean so much when we lose them.
It was 6 months before I actually went upstairs to my bedroom. You know, and when I got up there, I'm going to tell you, I cried.
Exactly.
You know, I cried. Now my wife said, "Oh no, you're going to spoil my fun. I got to make the whole bed now." You know, because she's been making half a bed for 6 months. You know, but we were fortunate to where we live. We had a garage apartment, and we had already fixed it up. We had a kitchen, a bath, and all that.
Okay.
And that saved my life, because that's where I've been living.
Now with this, where you are now, like you said, you're in remission, you're starting to build your leg up. Do you have a goal of getting back to, is that a possibility, to walking or running or in some kind of, at some level?
Yes, my goal is to come back. I've already made a plane reservation for later this year to go back up to Park City, Utah. Because my friends, we go up every year. This year we put it back to the end of September. And my goal is to go up there and hopefully at least do 1 or 2 days of hiking with them. You know, if I can't, then I'm just going to sit on the patio, read a book, and we'll let them have a good time. But I'm going to Park City, Utah. But my goal, like the Tulsa Run, I'm the voice of the Tulsa Run. And I've told everybody I will be on the scaffolding for the Tulsa Run, because this will be my 31st year in a row working the Tulsa Run. Excellent. I will be on the microphone. I will be on the scaffolding. And that's my big goal for this year. But next year I will be back. I've already looked at buying a new bike to ride in, a trike.
Okay.
You know, a recumbent where I won't fall over, because my bones are still brittle. And we're working on getting them strong, but I will be back.
Thank you so much, Jack. Thank you for joining me, and I'm going to look forward to you coming back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's our show. For Health Alert, I'm Pam Butler. I love to hear comments, questions, or suggestions for future shows. Please write me at Health Alert USA, P.O. Box 50913, Tulsa, Oklahoma, 74150. Or if you're on the email trail, please email me at healthalertusa@gmail.com. And also visit me on YouTube at youtube.com/healthalertusa. And remember, it's like Cheryl said, desire, determination, and dedication will always equal your destination. Take care and hang in there. This program would not be possible without the support of OU Physicians in Tulsa.